do, it's my pleasure to welcome the leader of the Labour Party and the next Prime Minister of a socialist Britain, Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your enthusiasm. We're a party that starts our conference with an open-air rally of music, of speeches, of people coming together. Do you know why? Because we believe in music and creativity as well as the ideas for the future. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you for the support you give to Labour, the support you gave in the general election last year, and the support that I personally have had during a lot of attacks from the mainstream media. Thank you very much. But I tell you what, the more those people come after us, the stronger we are. But think of it another way as well. Yes, we're put under pressure. Yes, there are people critical and attacking and so on. And we can use our platforms to argue back and to fight back. But there are many in society that don't have that chance. They have to make very tough choices. To pay the rent or buy the food, to live somewhere or have nowhere to live, to give up a job to care for somebody because there's no social care available. What is wrong in this country is the injustice, the inequality and the poverty that is created by this system and this Tory government and the austerity that they've put onto us since 2010. And you'll remember this very well, and it's not that long ago. Last year, April, the Prime Minister decided to call a general election because she was thinking she could win the election, and you remember all the stuff that went with it. And you remember what all those commentators said about Labour, about us, and so on. Something happened. That something was that we, our party, the Labour Party, offered an alternative of redistribution of wealth and of power, of transforming our society and transforming our economy. And said we weren't interested in Me Tooism in politics. Our job, our function, our purpose, our movement is to represent those people who are hardest done by in our society, and that's what we're here for. And in this fantastic city of Liverpool, the history of music, the history of struggle, the history of standing up. The last time I spoke at a rally on the Pier Head was to oppose racism on this very platform a few years ago. We marched together because we are never going to allow the racists to divide us in our society. So we stand together with those people in Central Europe and other places who are standing up to the rise of the far right. Because think about it, you can divide a society, you can find a minority to blame. That's what happened in the 1920s and 1930s. You find a minority to blame, you then create a hatred towards those people, and then you create a hatred towards somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. But at the end of it, you've created a very nasty, oppressive atmosphere. You've not built one house, you've not built one school, you've not trained one doctor, you have not achieved anything by that. So we will not allow anyone to divide us. Our movement is about bringing people together. bringing people together to defend jobs, bringing people together to defend living standards, bringing people together for an investment-led future that John McDonnell outlined to you a few minutes ago, because that is what the Labour way is about. Slaves against their oppression. We have to hear the voice of those that are oppressed and stand with them. And so it's an understanding of history that I want to see developed in our party, in our education system, and in our society. And an understanding of the world that we live in. Environmental sustainability, the need to protect the diversity, the biodiversity, and the ecosystems, and ensure our rivers like the Mersey are clean, our water is clean, and our air is clean. You can't achieve all these things if you're wedded and bowed down before the principles of a free market economy. It simply doesn't happen like that. And so, our policies are all of those things that I've outlined, and all of the things that you will outline as well, because that's what brings us together and makes us strong. Now, we've got big issues coming up in Parliament in the near future. We will challenge this government on whatever deal it brings back, on our 6 tests, on jobs, on living standards, on environmental protection and protection of those jobs, and the ability of an incoming Labour government to invest and intervene in an economy to bring about decent wages, jobs and full employment. And if this government can't deliver, then I simply say to Theresa May, the best way to settle this is by having a general election. And we will take our message out, to every town, every city, every village. But it's also about how we do that. This party is bigger than ever. We are the biggest political party in Europe. We've got more members than all the other parties put together. And in that massive membership, we have all that creativity and all those ideas. But we also have the ability to take our message directly out through social media, through door knocking, through community campaigns, through our community organising, so that we do gain those marginal constituencies we've got to win. But above all, we mobilise people into the idea of the kind of society we can live in, rather than the kind of society we are told to live in. And I am determined that this party will come out of this conference even bigger, more democratic, more involved of all its members, and above all, absolutely, totally determined to win an election in order to reduce the gap between the richest and the poorest, to create a society where we do not pass by on the other side to somebody suffering from mental illness, somebody suffering because they've got nowhere to live, a child unable to study in school because they haven't been properly fed, and a government that will act on the world stage, not to go to war, but act on the world stage to defend human rights, democracy, and be a voice for peace around the world.
Let's stand.